Gazing from my office window in the Admiralty at the emerging spring blossom in St James's Park, I nevertheless felt a dreary apprehension of the future. In my employment, I had pleaded for months with my superiors to recognise the need for accurate maps and charts in our naval service. Yet what seemed so clear to me as a cartographer apparently fell on deaf ears, although Admiral Gardner had at least granted me some audience of late. So it was with not a little trepidation that I opened the memorandum from his office. Trevero, Cornwall. I'd never set foot in this remote county, yet this must surely represent an opportunity. I resolved immediately to grasp it wholeheartedly, and without further ado, made arrangement to board the next coach for Exeter. Before I entered the inn, I'd caught sight of a man who'd worn such dark colours, it was though he and the night had blended into one. I'd then glimpsed the flicker of a lantern, if only for a brief moment, and my heart had begun to beat with alarming pace. There had been no chance for me to turn and run, for a hand had shot out and grabbed me by the collar, and I found myself staring into the face of a heavy-set man. To put up a fight would no doubt have seen me sent to an early grave. Smugglers. It had been, to my amazement, that I was suddenly faced with the very men whose practice I had been sent to discourage. He then proposed a reward for my service and assured me he was a man of his word. Perhaps I had been mistaken, and these men were not the barbaric smugglers I'd often heard about in tavern tales. I had found myself in an ugly disposition and in full breach of my obligation to Captain Harding. At this point, I would like to note that I'm a man of good birth, my mother and father both being of an honest and generous nature. I submitted to my fate and agreed to help the men. Far from my London town, I am to reside amongst these people. It would be in my best interests if I were perhaps to stay on their side. A thing or two could be learned from them. But perhaps most of all, I might have myself an adventure.